Well, hey everyone, this is Hank Dean Yeager, starring me. Uh, I wanted to try something different. We're doing a bit of an experiment here at various topics. Hey everybody, it's me. Brought to you by Hank Dean Yeager, my co-hosts Daniel and Jack. And here I am doing my own little limited edition entry into our our big series here. I wanted to tackle one of the great character actors of our time, one that I think everyone will find fairly memorable. His name is Tracey Walter. I'm going to go through probably a couple of his uh, bigger vehicles, I guess you'd call him. He was always a supporting actor, as far as I know. He never did anything where he was a leading man. um, and it's no offense to the guy, but some people just don't have that quality about them. And if you know Tracey Walter and you're familiar with his work, you'll know why. But he just always was a great supporting role, whether it be sort of comic relief, a lot of times a bad guy, both. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and just go through a couple of films real quick. A lot of people probably remember him from his earliest work because he did a lot of television. That's how a lot of these guys, especially the character actors, get started. A lot of television. I mean, show after show after show, some more obscure than others. Some, Magnum PI, Hawaii Five-0, you going back into the 70s, other shows and whatnot. Uh, it just depends. There's a variety of stuff they do. Usually just one episode, bad guy, some stoolie giving them information, maybe a bartender, and then finally they hit the big time and they start doing their character work, supporting roles in major motion pictures. Start off with Repo Man, I think it was 80 or 81. Very odd little movie. I wasn't really introduced to it till about, I want to say about 10, maybe 12 years ago is the first time I checked into it myself. A lot of people, it was around, actually it was, like I said, it came out either my birth year or the year before. And it starred Emilio Estevez, a lot of other character actors, and a lot of supporting actors. But the movie itself was a hodgepodge of different genres. It was sort of half, I would say coming of age, but half comedy at that time, and then part spy film, part sci-fi. You could even throw horror in there, I guess. But yeah, it's just Tracey Walter is part of the junkyard, the crew that goes and collects vehicles, tows them and things like that. And I can't remember if he's a repo man himself or if he just has a job at the yard. But he has these nuggets and pearls of wisdom. If people remember the movie, he said, I think the most famous of which was the reason he doesn't drive anywhere, he rides the bus, is because he believes that the more time people spend driving, the less they're thinking. And he goes, the iconic line is, the more you drive, the less intelligent you are. So that's Tracey Walter in that. A lot of people remember his start. If not, check it out. It really is a bizarre little film. It's not for everybody. I think at the very end, he ends up picking up as a Cadillac. I'm not that good with cars. It's a irradiated neon green glowing Cadillac or something, comes down from the sky. Tracy's driving it, and he picks up Emilio Estevez, and they go up. They start flying above the city. I'm telling you, you got to see it to believe it. So that was that. Comes back. He plays a pretty cool part, minor part. Again, comic relief. Plays a thief in the Conan film. Love Conan. We won't go into that right now. I could do a whole video on the Conan films. John Milius, just Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan. Just a great fantasy, sword and sorcery, adventure, action adventure pick of its time. And in my opinion, one of the great Schwarzenegger films. Great score, too. Great musical score. But yeah, Tracey Walter plays a thief in a supporting role, part of Schwarzenegger's little ragtag crew, and he's got a nice little part, And it's a great film, classic Schwarzenegger movie. Um, does At Close Range, which I've got the poster, the namesake of it, right above me here. Christopher Walken, Sean Penn, 1986. Madonna's hit song at the time, "Live to Tell," attached to the musical score. And in it, he plays, his character's name is Patch. He plays Walken's brother or half-brother. You never quite get all the details. Walken, again, he's part of a crew that Walken has of thieves, and he's sort of like at the loose end of it. He's a bit of a mess-up, a bit of a flunky, and Walken doesn't even really want him on his crew. And he's got a few scenes in it, nothing substantial, I would say, but he plays a good part in it. Flash forward a few years, and I'm going to get to now the probably the most memorable role he's ever done is 1989. Everybody remembers Tim Burton's Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Batman. And if you remember Batman, you know that here again, part of a crew, the bad guys, Jack Nicholson had a crew of thugs and goons, most of them, just about nearly all of them nameless, but he had an inner, like a core group of guys, and there was a big, hulking, like balding guy with a mustache, muscular guy, and then I think there was or was near the end anyway, there was a martial arts guy, but his right-hand guy throughout the whole film, Jack Napier, and then as he transitioned into the Joker, was Bob the Goon. Everybody remembers Bob the Goon. Always loyal, always there, do whatever, the Joker asks him to do, just always by his side. Well, of course, at the end of the movie, apparently he, at least in Joker's eyes, screwed up big time. He was expendable at that point, and again, another famous line that he's on the receiving end of this time is Bob, gun, boom, and blows him away. But the fact that his character was at least substantial enough in the toy line, I actually own it's over there in my bookshelf case where I display all my action figures. Bob the Goon action figure. Believe it or not, not a lot of actors or actresses can make that claim. But Tracey Walter can. So that was Batman in '89. A couple years later, he did one of the great comedies of the '90s, City Slickers, with Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, Bruno Kirby, and a host of others. He played a character called Cookie in this. He was the chef, the cook on their. They did like a ranch hand, a cattle drive across certain states and whatnot. And if you remember the film, the three lead characters, they go to try to find themselves or whatnot, and so they take part of a cattle drive. I think Noble Willingham is, if I'm not mistaken, he's the owner of the ranch, and that's what people, they come down there to do, a lot of them, just to find themselves, so to speak, to get away from it, find themselves, try to jumpstart their lives or whatnot. But part of the crew, the actual crew of the ranch that goes with the tourists or whatever you want to call them, is Cookie. He's the chef, he's the cook, but he's got a bit of imbibing problem. He drinks a little bit, and that causes a lot of problems and interesting segments throughout the film and whatnot. So, dude, one of the great comedies of the '90s. Like I said, I really love this film. I revisit it every now and again because it really is great. And Jack Palance. Speaking of Jack Palance, he was in The Joker too, right? He was Jack Napier's mentor of sorts, you know, and he kills him, offs him, and then he becomes mentor to Bob the Goon. So there you go. Um, but in this, Jack Palance plays the aging cowboy with it's a great comic effect too, with Billy Crystal bouncing off him as foil. So yeah, I really recommend that. Those were his major films. Like I said, a lot of people might remember him from some of those, especially Batman '89, Bob the Goon. Did a few, did a lot of work outside. I think IMDb credits him with over, it's got to be close to 175, 200 film and television credits. And the vast majority of these are just really small supporting roles. In fact, I'm going to name a couple films. Some of you might remember Deal of the Century. That was early 80s. I don't know, it was right after Repo Man. That was Gregory Hines, Chevy Chase, Sigourney Weaver. And he just had like, I don't even remember him in that movie. He had such a minor part. He was in Young Guns 2, small part in that. Midnight Run. You know, some of these roles, I think like Midnight Run, he was a clerk, like at a motel. That's it. He was in Philadelphia with Tom Hanks, Oscar award-winning film. Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington. And what does he play? I mean, and you had Jason Robards Jr. in there. I mean, just top of the line. What is he? He plays a librarian. He's in it for, I don't know, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Silence of the Lambs. He was in Independence Day. I don't even remember him in Independence Day. I think when I saw the film, I probably would have remembered him because I've always been a fan of character actors and actresses. I don't remember him in that. I think he played like, from what I read on IMDb, he was a technician of some kind, you know. But when he did those roles, when he did those memorable, and I say did because I don't think he's done anything since like 2016. He's in his mid-70s. He might be semi or completely retired at this point. But people remember this guy, man. It's Tracey Walter. I encourage you, if you haven't seen some, not just for his sake, but if you're a fan of these guys, you know, check it out. You know, guys in the background, you say, hey, oh, okay, I know that guy. You know, and oh yeah, he's the bartender or the motel clerk or whatever. You know, or some meaty roles, most of which were in the 80s. But check it out, and I'm very proud to be delivering these videos to you. I'm very happy about it. I hope you guys are enjoying them as much as I am. And till next time, want some candy?